Hello and welcome to the show as we come to you from New York. This summer, the International Criminal Court requested indictment of Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir on charges of genocide, crimes against humanity and war crimes in Darfur. Since then, both sides of this legal and political case have been lobbying their case to world leaders. Sudan argues that the charges should be suspended and the court argues they should be pursued. The conflict in Darfur began in 2003 when several tribes rose up and demanded more representation in the government in Khartoum. Pro-government tribes soon counterattacked and the casualties have been piling up ever since, ranging anywhere from 10,000 to hundreds of thousands, with millions displaced from their homes during the fighting. While the ICC has charged al-Bashir with war crimes, it has not issued any arrest warrant, and many are skeptical that it ever will. The US depends on the Sudanese secret police for intelligence and other cooperation. And don't forget that Washington opposed the creation of the ICC out of fear that its own officials or soldiers might be indicted for war crimes. China is a major trading partner with Khartoum, and some Darfur activists have argued that this indictment request has hurt chances for progress in Darfur instead of helping it. Today we ask, what is the role of the ICC in such a delicate situation, and should the charges against the Sudanese president be pursued? Joining me is Luis Moreno-Ocampo, who was elected unopposed to the position of ICC prosecutor in 2003 from a ballot of 70 countries. As a young lawyer in his native Argentina, Mr. Moreno-Ocampo established a reputation for his willingness to confront the rich and powerful. Today his mandate is to aggressively investigate and prosecute war crimes, genocide and crimes against humanity. Good to have you with us. On July the 14th, you presented evidence that the Sudanese president committed these, quote, crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity and war crimes in Darfur. What was the evidence that the president was directly involved?
This is the second case, in fact. The first case was basically the attacks commanded in 2003-2004, commanded by the Ministry for the Interior. And they basically used the army to surround the small villages, and with militia and Jawid that they joined, they attack these people, killing them, raping them, torturing them, and looting, and destroying the water system, destroying everything, and forcing them to this place. And was another warrant issued against the minister and one of the Janjaweed militia leader. We request to the president of the country to hand over him, and Mr. Bashir say he will not because the minister was following his instructions. So we keep saying, okay, that's important because it's almost a confession that what you say, that minister following your instructions. So we collect more evidence to try to prove, was the president involved in the crimes? That was the second question we did. And first, Mr. Bashir is the president of the country, the chairman of the party, the head of the armed forces, and the head of the police forces. So he had all the power as a jury. But we collect more than 20 witnesses who saw Mr. Bashir giving instructions or receiving requests, not just from the army or the intelligence people, but also from the Janjaweed militia themselves. So we basically prove that Mr. Bashir controlled absolutely the state apparatus, and he used it first to attack these people in their own villages and remove them, and then they are still attacking them in the camp for the people. That's why it's a genocide, and that is the charge that we are presenting.
Now, to what extent is this a case that is symbolic because of what it represents in terms of getting some kind of accountability versus a case that is sort of judicially sound?
No, we're not doing symbolic case. We're a prosecutor. We're presenting cases. We have 4 prisoners in jail. This is a criminal court. We're not doing symbolic cases.
Genocide is quite a controversial word. I mean, you know, how certain are you what's going on in Darfur has risen to the level of what could be classified as genocide?
Genocide means destroy a group for racial or religious reasons. In this case, the issue is the Sudanese government decide that to face the rebels, they will affect the tribes, because they say, in fact, Ahmed Haroun, the Minister for the Interior, say in a public meeting, because the sons of the Fur, one of the groups, became rebels, the Fur and whatever they had became a booty for the Mujahideen. And he incited the Janjaweed militia to attack the Fur. Next day, they did it. And imagine, so the Fur were asking the minister to be protected by him. And instead to protect them, the minister incited to be attacked. Imagine if you have a problem in your house and your daughter is raped, and then the police come and say, yes, I will come tomorrow and rape again. That happened. That's why they need international criminal court, but also these Fur people, there are three groups, the Fur, the Masalit, and the Sagagwa. They need the protection of the international community because members of the states are attacking them, and that is a difficult situation we have today.
Now, you've requested indictment in the case of President al-Bashir. No arrest warrant has been issued. Do you ever expect one to be issued?
Normally take 2 or 3 months, but the judges were busy with the previous case, so the first meeting with the first hearing with the judge will be on October 1st, and normally take 2 or 3 months. But I requested in the past 12 arrest warrants, and I got 12 arrest warrants.
You've been meeting with the United Nations and the African Union officials recently, looking to lobby your case.
No, I'm not lobbying my case. No. No, this is an international criminal court. It's the first. It's exporting the idea of the criminal court beyond the state. That's why it's a 21st century institution. So it's a court based on national cooperation. That's why, because in the UN I have different meetings with different authorities from different countries, I had to explain to them my case, and they had to act. I'm not lobbying. I'm just explaining my judicial activities.
So what was the response? What was the response you got from them?
No, I have a judicial mandate. I received a Security Council mandate in 2005 to investigate the cases. And it was difficult because I could not even go to Darfur because I cannot protect my witness there. So I had to collect witnesses all over the world. We screened 600 people who were in Darfur and escaped, and we identified 100 who were useful for us, and we took 100 testimonies in more than 18 countries. And in addition, we collect thousands of documents from the UN Commission of Inquiry, plus I was engaging with the government of Sudan for a while. They gave me a lot of information. They gave me information from a National Commission of Inquiry. The Minister of Defense produced a report for us, and we interviewed some of the officials, including the general in charge of Darfur. So we collect evidence from all the sides, and that's why when I say something happened, it's happened.
Well, yeah, but in the sense I meant more in terms of reaction from the international community, because of course you're dealing with politicians. You're dealing with people who will take sides, people who will support the idea of doing what you do, but also those who are wary that this has knock-on implications. We look at the US approach towards the ICC, for example, and the fear that it may backlash onto the US itself.
No, this is a new idea. This is a new idea because basically we have this global world with no global institutions. So the ICC is a new idea. It do global justice based in national state. The idea is states have to do it themselves. If they fail, the court will jump. And in this case, the Security Council gave us the case because in Darfur, the Sudan is not doing investigations. So we did it. And now, of course, there are many reactions because it's a new thing. But the important thing is people's understanding now is the law. And the important thing, what is at stake now, is the life or death of 2 million people. That is the concept. So there are 2 million African people who speak Arabic, are Muslims, attacked by African people who speak Arabic and Muslims. So it's not a racial or religious war. It's basically a political issue affecting these 3 tribes. And the issue, what the world will do to protect these people. And the problem is, no state has a lot of interest to expose their own efforts to control the situation. That's why, in some way, it's a waking up call, our intervention, because people were worried about the beginning when the crimes were open in the villages, but the last years, people started to be used to the idea that these million people in the camps are attacked and nothing happened. So in some way, my intervention, the intervention of the court, is showing the facts and is creating the need to do something, or if not, we're ignoring the life of 2 million people.
You've used the term that the ICC is a 21st century, a modern global organization. And I wonder, it makes me wonder to what extent you see it as a 21st century organization stuck having to deal with old world, as you call it, organizations in trying to get support or trying to get any backing in the things you want to do.
Yes, it's a new idea. It's like when we say, wait, I will stop to smoke. Smoking is not a good idea. And the first week is difficult. No, the states commit to this new idea. And many states are willing not to commit genocide themselves, but the willingness to do something to stop other states committing genocide is more difficult. And that's why, yes, as you say, they are trying to see what they can do, because of course it's difficult, because they have no authority to give instruction to them. So I'm not requesting someone else to arrest Dimitri Harun. I'm requesting the government of Sudan to do it. But of course, President Bashir is refusing to do it, and now I have evidence that he is refusing because he's involved in the crimes. So that's a new problem. What will we do?
Well, I want to get some of the emails we got from our viewers around the world wanting to put them to you. And if I could, let's start with the email that came from Amin Izzadeen from Colombo in Sri Lanka, who says, the ICC is a highly politically motivated body which lacks clear-cut standards as to who a war criminal is. Will Mr. Moreno-Ocampo dare to define the dropping of bunker busters, an illegal weapon which killed hundreds if not thousands of civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan, as a war crime?
That could be a possibility that a cluster bomb could be a war crime. The problem is I have no jurisdiction in Iraq, because Iraq is not a third party, and US is not a third party. I had jurisdiction in Afghanistan, and in fact, we are reviewing this type of evidence. We are reviewing this type of facts. So what the law is very clear. I had to select the most serious crimes, and that's why I start with Congo, Uganda, and then the Security Council gave me the Darfur case, which is really gravest. Afghanistan is a very serious situation. We are monitoring, and we will work on it.
Another email that came from Jalal Balala says, Darfur crisis, Omar al-Bashir is a friend of the US, and Darfur is a land grab for oil.
Yes.
Your opinion on that? That that basically there's the political motivation.
That's the point. But I investigate crimes, and I can show you my cases. You read my cases, you will see detail of the evidence. I have a witness who saw Mr. Haroun delivering weapons in his own helicopter. I have a witness who saw Haroun inciting Janjaweed militia to attack people. I have a witness who listened Mr. Bashir giving instructions. So I have detailed evidence.
And the key, of course, is to make sure that those witnesses are reliable, though, as well, isn't it? I mean, how do you ensure that?
We are working law. For us to take a testimony is something first we check who is the person, we check the security for the person. So when the person was traumatized, we have psychologists helping them first. And after we take the testimony, normally it's the beginning of a long relation because we have to protect them. So we're very careful how to take the testimony.
Now, one thing I should do in the interest of balanced journalism, I should point out that, of course, we wanted to get a response from the Sudanese government because they are the other side of the story. The Sudanese government says that Darfur the Darfur issue is an internal affair. And we had a chance to speak with Dr. Bona Malwal, who is a special advisor to the Sudanese president. And here's what he had to say about the ICC charges.
Say, a concocted charge, not a true charge. We have a situation in Sudan where we have a civil conflict. And in civil conflicts, even atrocities do happen. Is it credible that these atrocities can be the responsibility of one individual just because he's the head of a state? If the head of a state has to stop his duties, his role of having law and order ensured in the country, is that not anarchy? And what would happen if each group, each ethnic group or each community takes up arms against the other, and the government is not in a position to keep law and order? So I absolutely refute the charge that there is genocide in the Sudan. My president has the responsibility to maintain law and order in the Sudan and to ensure that we find a peaceful resolution of all the conflicts that we have in the Sudan, including Darfur. Take away the president from all that, and I don't know if Mr. Ocampo wants to substitute himself as the president of the Sudan, because he doesn't tell us how, if President al-Bashir goes to The Hague tomorrow, is he going to organize the elections for the Sudan, or is he just going to leave the Sudan leaderless and care not? The international community must recognize that there is not a single rebel group in Darfur. We are, anybody gives you the number. The last number I had is 33 rebel groups. How does anybody in his right sense expect the government of Sudan to negotiate with 30 rebel groups and offer a solution to each one of them?
Well, there we have a response from the Sudanese government from Dr. Bona Malwal, who's a special advisor to the Sudanese president on the ICC request for an indictment against the president on charges of genocide and crimes of genocide, crimes of humanity and war crimes in Darfur. We'll get a response from the ICC chief prosecutor when we return. Stay with us. We'll be back after this break.